Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great day. Today, I thought we'd do something kind of fun. I am standing out in front of Avotopia Manor, which is the entrance to Avotopia, a Minecraft server where I've spent the better part of the last 7 or 8 months. For those of you who don't know, Avotopia is part of the Avoverse, a group of several servers provided by one of my favorite YouTubers, Avomance. One of his main focuses is build tutorials. I first found him through a series of redstone tutorials. You'll also find he does a lot of server multiplayer or SMP content, and even single world playthrough videos. If you love Minecraft and you haven't already found him on YouTube, definitely go check him out. I'll put the links in the description down below. So anyway, I thought that I'd take a little bit of time today and go through my base and some of my builds on that server because the current season is about to end. With the release of Minecraft version 1.16, the Nether update, the server is soon going to be reset, and that means that everything here is about to go away. Avotopia is pretty big, so there may or may not be a world download for it, and just in case there isn't, I thought I'd do this walkthrough so that I can remember what I've done, and at the same time, share it with all of you. So, let's get into it. So, first of all, let me clarify just a little bit. This is the lobby world to get into Avotopia. This part isn't going away. It's the Avotopia server itself that's being reset. So all of this is going to be here, but that server will be reset, and we'll be starting from scratch in 1.16. Before we go too far, though, just take a look around here. Look at all of this stuff. This is built by the admins and the moderators for the Avoverse, and look at the incredible talent that these guys have. I mean, this is some amazing stuff, and this is just the admins. I mean, you should see the stuff that the other players do as well. It's a great place to be, and it's actually one of the reasons that I decided to join the Avoverse. There are a lot of great builders on there. I had actually seen a video of a contest that was run on the server, and I loved the builds that I saw there, and I thought I can learn a lot from these people, so that's why I decided to come here. So actually, this just actually put me inside of my base on Avotopia. Let's come out here. Actually, you see, there is my my Nether portal. I like the fact that it's a little bit fancier. That's actually one of the things that I learned from the build contest that I was talking about. Just a way to spruce up the Nether portal. I like the additional detail. This isn't an exact copy of what I found at the contest site, but I really like the way that this comes together, and I think it looks pretty sharp. So anyway, actually, let's come back here. This is my base on Avotopia. The house is actually one that I saw from a tutorial that Avomance did earlier on. It's one of the first things that started to let me know what's possible within Minecraft. I just love the shape of it. It's not just a house, it's a self-contained base. The tutorial that he did had the house and all the the raised platform and all of the farming and everything underneath it. And I just thought that looked incredible. And when I first started out here to kind of showcase some of my abilities, I decided, and of course to pay tribute to Avomance, I thought it would be really great to take one of the builds that I had learned from and just kind of reflect that in what I was doing. I changed the basic layout a little bit. Obviously, the house is just a mirror image of what he did, but the rest of the base is kind of my own just my own additions. I've had the melon and pumpkin farm underneath. One of the main reasons that I decided to build here was actually when I got to this location, there was this great little octagonal depression in the ground, and I thought it was just a natural formation. I thought, God, I could really do something cool here. And that's where I got the idea to build a tower over top of it. But this area, the actual octagonal area itself, makes a nice little place to it makes a nice workflow, a work center. I have all of my stuff here, a little bit of storage. It's not all of the storage that I have. Anybody who plays Minecraft for any period of time knows that you accumulate a lot of stuff, and this isn't nearly enough to store it all, but there's quite a bit here. I'll come back in here in a second, but let's take a look at this from the outside. You saw hints of it when I was standing over at the portal. But I'll come out here because this is actually one of my favorite views. What I was going for here, first of all, I had never done a wizard tower before. And I thought, well, you know, my name is White Warlock. Let's do something that kind of is in that theme and kind of show off my skill a little bit here. Because, again, there's lots of great builders on this server. And, you know, let's just see what I can do. But I love this view. I like the layout of this whole place because it kind of gives the feeling of a winery, like a grand estate. And that was kind of the feeling that I was going for here. Love the way this came together. So let's go back in here for a sec and just kind of go through the tower so you can see what's in it. Well, actually, you've been down there. Well, we'll go back down in a second. Second floor here, I decided to put obviously some enchanting tables and of course my supplies to do that. I thought that's a great way to use a floor. Second floor, I decided to use do potions. Everything's manual. I've seen some automated ones, but I just thought, you know, my needs are kind of simple. Got an infinite water source here. Makes that very easy. Third floor is really just for storing some enchantments. My original thought was I have enough space in this tower that I could actually store every possible enchantment, but the truth is you only use a handful of them, so I didn't end up creating that. So this floor and this floor are both empty, although there is a great view when you look out here. Come up here to the top. This is just an access area to get to the roof. And up here, my concept for this build, since it's a wizard tower, I thought I'd put a giant crystal at the top. The kind of the lore for this place is that this is the crystal that provides power for the wizard that runs the place. Had some fun doing that. This, of course, makes a nice elytra jumping off point. Can launch myself and kind of run around the property if I want to. So let's go into the house itself. You can take a look at this. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to do here, my vision for the house was that it's kind of like a bed and breakfast. So I provided a nice little kitchenette here. My base is actually relatively close to, I don't want to say it's close to the spawn point, but there's a rule on the server where you are only allowed to build past a certain distance from spawn, and I'm actually fairly close to that minimum distance. And my thought was that people may come through here, they when they're first starting out, they're looking for a place. I wanted to give them the ability to get some food and rest up, so you know, I make my place publicly available. Have a working fridge with food in it. a number of different things here that they could make for their travels. And all of this is, I let this available to everyone. Just thought it would be a nice way to help people out. I got a nice little grandfather clock here. I'd love to say that this was my design, but it's not. There's a fantastic player, RavanThot, who plays on this server, and I actually saw this when I took a tour of her base. I loved the way that it looked, and I like the idea of a grandfather clock in the house, so I borrowed it, let's say that. This area over here where we first spawned in is actually the guest area. Again, because people may be coming through the base, I wanted to give them the ability to just rest here, a chest to store their things, and again, for people that are just getting started out. And then I've got a little guest book here for people to sign. Actually, I should go back out this way. Alright, so let's go out this direction. Alright, so there's actually, this actually leads to a little artificial forest that I created. As I visited the various biomes, I planted a forest over here. There's actually a property marker, a big statue that I used as a property marker that's past this point. I'll show it a little bit later in the video. Cobblestone generator. For when I was first building this place, I really needed that. I kind of love the layout here. There's we have what we call, or I call it the twin lakes, although in truth it's probably about 3 of them. We can take a look at that. We can take an aerial view of that a little bit later. Just some simple farms here for trading with the villagers. I've got a wool farm. It's a slight variation on Avomance's. Avomance has a tutorial on how to build a wool farm, and I modified it slightly. I did actually use a lot of hopper mine carts in this because the Avomance version has a single mine cart that goes back and forth and collects everything, which is wonderful from a cost standpoint. But from a sound standpoint, like, it drives me crazy. All you hear is the minecart every time you get close to it. So I replaced it with a number of hopper minecarts, and they just go directly into the barrels here. Out here is, again, another variation on an Avomance tutorial. This is the sugarcane farm. This is almost identical to his farm. The only modification I really made to it, again, because I'm not big on all of the sound of the minecarts going back and forth, I changed this. His design actually has a minecart that just goes around constantly. Again, great from an efficiency standpoint. From a sound standpoint, that just kind of drives me crazy. Oh, looks like I'm missing a block up here. The only change that I made is I just put an automatic minecart unloader in this. So what happens is, the basic concept of this farm is when the sugarcane grows up high enough that the observer sees it, all of the pistons fire and it chops off the sugarcane. What I did is that the same redstone pulse that triggers those pistons also triggers this minecart to go around. It makes one trip around, comes back, unloads itself, and then just sits there until the pistons fire again. So I don't have to listen to all of that sound, which drives me nuts. I'll have to look up the tutorial. This is not my design. This is a combination iron farm and villager trading hall. It is actually a very good and a very efficient iron farm. As you can see, the bins are full, and there goes an iron golem. I'll have to clear this out in a bit. But this is my first attempt at doing something. I wanted to kind of save some space and just combine a trading hall with the iron farm. The problem, though, is that I couldn't really get enough villagers in there for all of the trades that I wanted. Ooh. It looks like I've got some phantom friends. Let's see if we can get rid of that. Make it morning. Next thing I have out here is my cow cooker farm, which is actually bigger than the standard cow cooker, but I had a problem on this server initially where the typical cow farm designs really have a whole bunch of cows in one or two blocks, and the problem that I had with it is that for whatever reason, not the cows wouldn't always drop the way that they should, and I had the cows build up in that spot, and I wanted to have a little bit more control over exactly where the cows were, so I could make sure that I could be pretty efficient with this. So this particular design has 4 pods in it. Each pod has exactly 2 cows in it. So it actually makes this process pretty efficient. Let me feed these guys. There we go. And if all goes well, we should, when we're finished here, have exactly 4 baby cows that show up down below. Oops. Trying to get through these sometimes is challenging. Alright, so we've got, if I can count these, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, 5, 6. Oh, I had some from the last time. I haven't actually been in here long enough for the cows to grow up, so okay, well, we should have quite a bit when we're finished. One of the things that I like about this design, I think it's kind of funny if you look at it from here. Should almost put a tail on it because it almost looks like a cow when you look at it. Kind of cute. This part over here is just, it's a mega smelter. I had created that as, well, when you're doing some big projects, you need to be able to smelt a lot of materials. I had lots of glass that I needed to create, and this is actually based on a mumbo jumbo design that I found. It just uses some redstone to control control whether or not these hoppers are locked. Makes it very easy to smelt a lot of things quickly. It's based on the idea that if you smelt 1 stack of items in 1 furnace, you have to wait, I think it's something like 10 seconds per item, something like that. But if you can distribute that stack among, in this case, I've got 16 furnaces on this side and another 16 over here. So if you can spread that stack out over 32 furnaces, then it basically takes the same amount of time to smelt an entire stack as it would take to smelt 2 items. So it speeds things up considerably. You can actually make this even bigger, but unfortunately I'm playing this on a server, and even this is kind of big for the server. It can create lag because of all of the hoppers, so you got to be really careful with that. I think the rules are changing in Season 2. I wouldn't be able to do this again, I don't believe. But I was able to do it this time, and it was actually very helpful. So, simple thing, you put the things you want to smelt up here, you put the fuel in here, it spreads it out over all of the furnaces, you come down here to the bottom and collect it. So, very helpful when I had tons of glass or tons of stone that I needed to smelt into something. Also here on this library, or on this base is my library, and I'm going to come over here. This is actually one of my grander ideas. Over here I just have a villager powered carrot and potato farm. Very nice. This path, this is actually my first attempt at building an actual path. And it looks kind of good. The only problem is that the path is very straight. I think it gives a little bit more character when you make the path wind around a little bit. Over there, that's the remnants of... it looks like a carrot farm. It kind of is, but it was an infinite villager breeder. There was a way to... the farmer would actually throw the carrots to villagers that were in a pod in there, and they would get to baby making, and I would be able to use those villagers in this, my library. So this upper part here is kind of meant to look like a classic library, but the real powerhouse is down below. You come down here, and I have got a library that's got 40 villagers in it. It's actually 35 of them are librarians, and then I've got a few other ones that I can trade with. And the concept here was to have one of each, basically one librarian to provide each type of enchantment. In retrospect, that's probably overkill because, as I said before, typically you only need a handful of go-to enchantments. It's nice to have all of these, but honestly you don't really need them. I had fun playing around with the design of this. I actually got this from from a friend on this server, TyleighCross, who in turn got it from a YouTube tutorial. I believe it was Logical Geek Boy. I'll have to double check that. I will put the link in the description below just so that you can do that. The tutorial really goes through how to do the mechanics of putting something like this together. I came up with the idea of putting it in a big square design and decorating the way it is. I wanted it to be not only functional but to look very good. And I created these redstone sliding bookcases to get back to the redstone part of it. To actually do this design, I used some ideas that I, again, picked up on the server. So I love this pattern. They used something similar to this when they rebuilt the Avotopia library. I love the way that it looked. I also love the ceiling that they did. This is just a checkerboard pattern made out of smithing tables and cauldrons. Interesting point about that, though, is when I was trying to get the librarians in here, I actually had to move them about 50 blocks away, or maybe farther than that. It might be closer to 90 blocks away. Here's the villager breeder. But I would set their trades way back here because one of the things that I found, and this was kind of interesting, is that if you have villagers, if you're trying to set the trades, it actually looks at all of the trade workstations within, I think it's like a 250 block radius, something along those lines. I'll have to figure out the exact number, but it looks at all of them, even if the villager can't pathfind to them. So what it does is it goes through them one at a time and says, well, can this villager pathfind to this workstation? And if the answer is no, he can't claim that. But it has to look at every single one of them, even if the villager can't get to it. It has to make the determination that, can they do that or not? And the problem is that it would take me 5 to 10 minutes every time I tried to reset a villager's trade, just for it to go through all of those workstations and determine that, oh no, I can't do that. It was just crazy. So I had to move the village, or the area where I set the trades, far enough away from all of those workstations so that it could happen in a timely fashion. Let me go back up here. All right, so got my library there. I love the way that looks. Oh, the sign on that library was, I actually worked with a friend, Chicky D, and we built a map art area so that you could actually create large pixel drawings out of map art. We did it specifically so that I could do this sign, and then we used it at a couple of different places throughout Avotopia. One of which is Hideaway Creek, which I hope to show a little bit later. That was another big group build that we did. It was a lot of fun to do. All right, so I am going to sleep, and then we will head out to the border of my property so that you can see the little temple that I did. All right. So this is actually quite a long trip out here. I think we'll just speed up the video so that you don't have to watch this entire run. So this part, this is a, I call it the water temple, or Temple of the Waters. Let me go look at the, yep, Temple of the Waters. And again, I'd love to take credit for this design. It is, however, one that was done by RavanThot. Again, I loved the temple that she had on her base, which is very. It's almost identical to this. I believe that what she was going for was to make something that looks similar to some of the temples that you see in World of Warcraft. I love the design. I changed the color a little bit. I like the idea of having a moat around the thing with some arched bridges to get across it. So I just wanted some structure that was going to sit out here on the edge of my property, so that if someone was coming in coming in from the ocean looking for a place to live, and maybe set up a base, that they'd recognize that someone was already here. That was really all I was going for. Just, hey, you're getting to a populated area. And this actually looks pretty cool from out on the ocean. You just kind of see this temple sitting up on the hill. This is actually a water elevator up here. Unfortunately, there's no down elevator, so if you go up in the elevator, you have to actually cut a hole in the roof and jump down. It was more for decoration than anything else, but you know, that's just what you have to deal with. Let's make this long run again. So here we are at the southern border of my property, and as I mentioned, off in the distance there you can see the giant statue, which we'll talk about in a second. Over here to the side is Autumn Frostbase. Everybody wave hi to Autumn. Autumn joined about I guess maybe a month or two after I did, and set up this wonderful base. We kind of shared resources. She used my nether portal until she got one of her own established. It was very cool to have some additional neighbors. Let's see. Let's take a look out here now. This statue is actually quite large. It's from the distance it doesn't look quite as big as it is, but it's actually it's big enough that it has a base in it, or an area for a base. Let's come out here onto the water. I should have brought a boat, didn't do that. But we can, if we come out here far enough, we can at least get an idea of what this looks like. Maybe I can swim out here a little bit, just to take a look. So this is actually kind of interesting. When I first built this statue, I had no idea who Herobrine is, being relatively new to Minecraft. But I found this statue tutorial online, and again, just like the Temple of the Waters, the whole purpose was to mark the southern edge of my property, let people know. I was kind of going for that whole giant Lord of the Rings statue vibe, just kind of let people know that they were at the edge of a property, but I wanted something that kind of reflected Minecraft, so I decided to go with that. And I liked the fact that it really showed a Minecraft character. Ooh, look, we got a friend. Go away, go away. And as I mentioned, inside here we have a place for a base. I never really developed it into anything, so we're still on the bare sand here, and you know, no furniture or anything like that. Just a bunch of lanterns to keep it lit up so we don't get too much spawning inside, although that didn't seem to help with the skeleton. So again, southern part of the property. Now, I also have. Oh, hey, friend. You know, we don't need any zombies here. Go away. I do have a skeleton farm that it was actually the first time I actually built a skeleton farm. So let's go take a look at that. Whew, that was an adventure. Skeletons and zombies and creepers and all manner of things trying to eat my face. But we made it here safely. And this is the entrance to my skeleton farm. It was the first time I ever made a skeleton farm in Minecraft. So this was a lot of fun to figure out how to do. Read a number of tutorials and then did my own thing. So the basic idea here is we can flip this switch. These lights here actually light up the skeleton spawner that are down below. When I flip that switch, all of the lights go out, which means that the spawner should actually start working. And within a few moments here, we should actually have some skeletons dropping down here, and hopefully we can take care of them. Let me eat for a second. So we have our first guest, and maybe we can take some revenge for all the ones that were trying to kill me on the way here. There we go. Not incredibly fast, although it kind of, the longer you stand here, the faster it gets. Let's turn that back on. We may have a few more guests pop in on us. All of the drops come down here. This is not prettied up at all. It's kind of a messy place down here. But you see, you get lots of useless bows, some armor. But the nice thing is all of the arrows, which early on can be quite helpful. And you get lots of bones to make bone meal. So it can be a nice little thing to have, at least until you get a bow that's got infinity on it. Let's take care of these guys. There we go. All right, that's on. So the next thing that I thought you may find interesting is my secret storage room. Let's run down here and take a look. It's actually, we have it underneath the wizard tower in my base. Come down here to the mining area underneath the base. Come over here. So I have this big room over here. Now this part isn't secret. I have an entrance down here to the area where I do my mining. This is just a great big item sorting system. I tried to get away without doing an item sorting system because all of the hoppers that you use in it can kind of contribute to server lag. And I was trying to avoid that. But, you know, after a month or so and I started accumulating lots of stuff, I decided that, well, I decided to cave in and build the item sorting system, at least for the construction materials. So all of the stone and the cobblestone, netherrack, dirt, that you kind of, well, netherrack if I go mining in the nether, but just dirt and sand and all of the stuff that you otherwise will get from gathering just kind of comes in here. Later on, when I discovered a mesa, I added all of the different types of terracotta, and then I also added wood in it because these are all the things that I gather most often. And I decided that it was just a whole lot easier to have that stuff sorted out for me. The rest of it I try to handle manually. Um, but those main things I want to sort automatically. Now down here at the end, I think most people will probably just think that this is that this hall is just more room for the item sorter, and that's true. That is part of the reason that I did this. But I realized, again, because my base is relatively, well, it's just outside the minimum limit for base building. I can have a lot of people that may actually run through here. And of course, because my place is set up as a bed and breakfast, they may come in. And I don't mind if people actually use the materials that I have, as long as they don't take all of it. But there are some things that I kind of wanted to reserve for just myself. So I created a hidden area underneath my base where I could store the things that I don't want just anyone having access to. So I based this room on a storage room that was created by Mythical Sausage. I liked the general concept that he did, but I wanted to change it up a little bit. First of all, I didn't need all of the storage that he used, so I've cut it in about in half. I think he had two additional rows of chests in each one of these pods, and I decided to pare it down quite a bit, decorate it a little bit so that it looks a little bit more homey. I have an area down here where, well, I don't typically use this, but I could if I was hiding in here. I've got all of these ovens and all of these smokers and all of these furnaces that I could use. Another thing that I've done, and this isn't immediately obvious to the casual person, I wouldn't normally show this, but since the server is about to be reset, I don't think I'm going to get raided. If I put a lever on here, oop, maybe that's not it. Is it here? Maybe it's here. There we go. All right. My crafting table slides away, and behind it, I have my diamonds and my gold and my valuables stored. So even within my secret storage area, there's secret storage areas. And mostly I did that just because it was fun to do. If they actually get as far as this place, chances are I'm not going to hide too much from them, but hey. Extra layers of security can't hurt. So I'm going to open that up, take this off of here, and it hides that from view. Oh, in here is my netherwort farm. Some of the things that I did had lots of red nether brick in them, and you need a lot of netherwort in order to do that. So I built a little farm underneath my base. Another cool thing that we have down here is there's an abandoned mine shaft. I didn't mention this before, but when I first started on Avotopia, we were having a lot of issues with the portals. There was a glitch in Minecraft, and there was also a glitch in the server software that they were using. And the two of those things combined created a situation where nether portals were hazardous to your health. There was a good bet that if you went through another portal, you would end up materializing inside solid rock, and you would lose all of your stuff. And unfortunately, that happened to me a couple of times. And in the process of doing that, I discovered some underground areas. One of those was the area of the skeleton farm, and another one was actually that abandoned mine shaft. So that was kind of a fun discovery that came out of kind of a challenging situation. So I think we'll end my base tour from here. I've spent the last 7 or 8 months on this server putting all of this stuff together. I do have a few other things I want to show. There's the Hideaway Creek and the map art area that I participated in. I want to show those off too, but I think I'm going to put those in a separate video just because this is getting really long. Hopefully we'll get a world download for this and I'll get to continue to experience this, but if not, I'll have this video to remember things by. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I do. Thanks for coming along on the trip. Bye.